Hello, heat pressers. It's your boy Jason. Now, see, I said that because I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos lately, and like all the YouTube videos go, it's your boy. It's your boy. So I don't know if that's like the cool thing to do. So I'm like, it's your boy Jason. Everybody around me is laughing right now. But anyway, my name is Jason. I'm the general manager here at Transfer Express, and behind the camera is my friend Natasha. Say hi, Natasha.
Hey guys.
Today, we're gonna show you the 5 things to not do when printing heat transfers. Again, the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things not to do when you print heat transfers. So, the first thing to not do when printing heat transfers is to use a pillow. Tasha, did you put this pillow back here?
Maybe.
Not this pillow, Natasha. This pillow. You do not want to use a pillow when you're applying heat transfers from Transfer Express. The reason why is because you really want a nice, smooth, even, flat surface for the proper pressure. By using one of these, it'll take the evenness of the pressure off, and you won't get a good heat print. It might look good on the shirt when you peel it, but as the customer starts washing it, you'll start seeing some things flaking off. So again, do not use a pillow. Again, do not use a pillow. And by the way, we are pretty adamant about this. You'll see it on our packing slips, you'll see it on our directions, you'll see it on our videos. It is not something you want to use. And Tasha said I should say, don't use the pillow. So that's what I'm not using. I'm not using the pillow. So the next thing you don't want to use is a Teflon cover sheet. The big thing is because it will block heat to the transfer itself for actual proper adherence. So what happens is when you put this over, it blocks literally 10 to 15 degrees of the heat that's actually coming through. So you don't want to use this because our sheets that we send you, the transfers themselves, act as a natural cover sheet. They do act as a natural cover sheet, and all of our proper temperatures and pressures and time are actually formulated to make sure to use this properly. So again, don't use a Teflon cover sheet when you're using Transfer Express products. So we'll get rid of that. Now, there are some of our products that do come with a cover sheet, but we supply those for you. So for example, our Ultra Color Soft product does come with a small, thin cover sheet. That is specifically in order because we're using a PET film. They're static, and that paper actually helps eliminate the static. But again, we formulated the time, temperature, pressure to fit with that. So if we're supplying you, something to cover the transfer with, please go ahead and use it. Use it with the directions that are given to you as well. All right, got it. The next thing that you want to make sure that you do the right way, and we get this a lot, is to properly apply a left chest transfer. So properly applying a left chest transfer, I'll show you what I mean by what we typically see, and I'll show you now what we actually want you to do. So here we go. So another thing that you don't want to use is an upper Teflon cover sheet, and because it does the same thing as just a regular sheet, Teflon cover sheet does, it takes the heat away. Again, our transfers have that natural cover already. So if you are using your typical heat transfer vinyls, that do recommend that, no problem. But when you start pressing transfers from Transfer Express, make sure to go ahead and remove that off the upper platen so that you get the right press, the right time, the right pressure. All of that happens the way it should be when you're pressing the transfers. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you what we typically see first-time heat pressers or people who are just learning when they incorrectly apply the left chest transfer onto a t-shirt here. So we have a transfer here, and what we're gonna do, we'll go ahead and apply it here. I'm gonna apply it incorrectly. So what I'm gonna do is, what we typically see is that sometimes the customers will actually take it all the way to the edge itself, to where the edge of the armpit here is the seam from the sleeve to the actual body of the shirt. So I'll go ahead and press that now. We'll let that, so again, for about 4 seconds. This is a goof-proof transfer. All the magic happens in 4 seconds. And it's a hot deal. So now we'll go ahead and show you. It looks, all right. And you can see it's too far over, right? It's just too far over. So if I even put it against, it's gonna be too much. So when I'm wearing this, it's gonna look like this. So we're gonna put this on a mannequin and we're gonna show you kind of like what happens when it's done incorrectly, so you can see what it looks like, so you don't incorrectly apply it for your customer. Give me here. I'm not very good at this at trade shows. I always have to have someone come over and help me. So Tasha, be ready to come over and assist me when you're ready. So I'm gonna, again, put this on here. Oh, look, we got the first time, Tasha, the first time. And we'll go ahead and put it on there. All right, and you can see here what happens is that you get it too far left. So it's actually over into the person's armpit. So when they're wearing this, it's not really being seen. So again, very common to happen when you're first starting off with printing or heat pressing our screen print transfers. So again, just something to be aware of. Do not apply that transfer too far over to the actual left itself, this way, left. Do not put it over too far left. You want to actually have it correctly lined up, and I'll show you how to do that right now. Here's how to correctly apply a left chest transfer. So what you do is you line the shirt up, and then you're going to look for some imaginary lines here. What we like to do is sort of take the middle here of the sleeve, go across to the edge of the collar until where they meet up. And once they meet up there, that's where you're going to basically line the transfer up. So about right there, and now you're going to be ready to press. So we're going to go ahead and press this and make sure it's nice and straight. Again, one of the nice things about Transfer Express is that we provide you a grid on the back of the transfer, because that actually helps you line up the transfer so that you can make sure that the lines are actually straight, and so that when you apply it, your transfer is correctly aligned. So all looks good here. Again, we're going to press this. This is a goof-proof transfer. It's our most popular transfer. It's 365 degrees for 4 seconds, and it's a hot peel. So we're going to peel that. All right, now we're going to go ahead and address the mannequin and show you how that looks on the mannequin compared to the incorrect one. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and address the mannequin now to show you what it looks like correctly. First, I want to make a point here that this model, his chest, his gut here, his six-pack, that's modeled after me, and I let myself be used so we can make. Tasha, stop laughing back there. Stop laughing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put the shirt on so you can see how it correctly looks, and as you can see here. Perfect, right? It's perfectly lined. The person's wearing it. Obviously, see it's not coming off into the edge here. And you can see how this is going to be a much better representation for the customer of their school, of their work, what organization, whatever they're doing, because now it's not all the way over. Next thing we're going to show you what not to do is not how to make a belly print. What do you mean by making a belly print? Well, what I mean is that sometimes when you put the full front transfer on, the screen print transfer, sometimes people incorrectly measure. So when they put it on, it's too far down. So it becomes what we call here a belly print. So you created a belly print. So I'm going to show you how to make how to apply an incorrect full front transfer and what ends up turning into a belly print. So we're going to go ahead and use this transfer here, and again, this transfer looks like it needs to go this way. And again, easy way to always understand, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this in the camera, but to make sure you're correctly putting down the transfer in the correct way, you just kind of hold it up to the light and you'll see what your image looks like. So again, I'm not sure if that comes across in the camera the right way, but you can kind of see, and then you're ready to go ahead and line up. So now we're going to go ahead and incorrectly apply, and what people typically do is they see this big, open space here, and they just sort of apply it like this. And then what happens is after you press it, it's too low. So again, this is also still our goof-proof transfer, 365 degrees for 4 to 5 seconds. This is, as you saw, it's also a 2-color as well. So again, all the magic happens that quickly. So you can see here what happened here. Too far down, right? So we'll put this on the mannequin here in a moment, and we'll show you what happens, what it looks like when you put it on, when the customer ends up putting this on. Now that we went ahead and applied that, again, I'm going to show you what it looks like on the mannequin here. As you can see, it's going to end up looking not very good. Your customer's not going to be very happy with it. Again, too far low. So again, there's too much space here. So when the customer's wearing it, it's gonna go all the way down to the top of this person's shorts, really. So again, just too far down. What you wanna do is make sure you get that higher, and I'll show you a very quick and easy way of how to do that right now. All right, so to correctly apply this transfer, you're gonna use some imaginary lines like you did when you applied that left chest transfer. So what you're gonna look for here, you're gonna look for the bottom of the armpit here, and the sleeve to the body of the shirt. You're gonna come over to the center of the collar, and I usually like to use the tag. For the most part, the tags are usually centered correctly into the shirt. If you have something that's off, again, just go by the center of the collar, but it's a lot easier to go by the center of the tag. So as I come over, I'm gonna go ahead and look for it and line it up. And then I know that my transfer needs to come up here. So I take the transfer, I'm gonna line it in here. And now I'm gonna go ahead and press this. And you can see it's gonna look a lot better. It's gonna be a lot higher. Customer's gonna be a lot happier with it. So push that off. All right, and now I'm gonna show you what it looks like on the mannequin. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this now on the mannequin on my physique here, my own personal physique that I model for. Put this on, and as you can see, much better, right? It's not down here where it was. It's not going down the shorts. It's actually perfect here, right between exactly where it should be, perfectly lined up. Again, all we did was use some imaginary lines. The bottom of the armpit here, bottom of the sleeve, over to the center of the tag, and then you center the transfer from there. The last thing is to not apply anything unless it has an even surface. It's very important because when this press comes down, it wants to be completely flat with the surface itself. So any obstructions you have with the garment itself will cause issues with your pressure. Again, it'll probably stick to the shirt, but as customers start to wash it, it will start to sort of degrade. So it's very important to make sure you have a flat, even surface. So where we find the most issues with this is when you're using golf polos. So you're looking at your polo shirt here, and already you got 3 buttons in the way. You got the collar part here, the seam. This also obviously raises as well. So you can see here, that's up. And then you have the seam around the collar and the collar itself. So if I apply a transfer onto this, again, it'll probably stay, but what's gonna happen is because you don't have that even pressure, it'll look okay, but again, it'll start to degrade through washing. Also, what's going to happen is you're going to end up hurting your buttons. Your buttons are going to probably end up changing colors. You're going to get off. Some of the polos have different texture up here in the collar, so you're going to get some discoloration there. So it's very important to have an even surface. So how do you do that? We do that using what we call Print Perfect pad. You can get these easily from transferexpress.com. Very simple. We'll send you the pad, and then you can even cut them up to how you want it to look. So easily to apply. Now, typically, obviously, I'm going to have this outside of the press zone, the collar, to make sure that you're not pressing the collar. But for ease of showing how it works here, I'm just going to leave it like this. So as I put the Print Perfect pad in here, what I want to do is put it exactly where I'm going to end up putting my transfer. And as long as it's there, again, you're not hitting any other surface, anything to that effect. And as you can see, what it does, and I'll hold it down here, it creates this flat surface. So when the press comes down, it's going to be on a nice flat surface to press. You're going to get the proper even pressure, time, and temperature when doing that to apply the transfer. So as you're, you put the transfer down, again, you would normally have this up here, and I can kind of show. And what you'll also see here is that it saves you your buttons, so your buttons are not going to end up getting pressed as well. Typically, what I like to do as well is I like to unbutton the buttons. And one of the things here is that you can also do this the opposite way, so you're not totally working under heat, or you could be smarter than me, and instead of trying to unbutton them when they're under the heat like that, you unbutton them when they're off. So anyway, you line it up, you have your transfer ready to go. Now it's a nice even surface, and you're going to go ahead and press it, and you're ready to go. All right, so that wraps up the 5 things to do, well, to not do when you're applying transfers from Transfer Express. Again, number one, do not use a pillow. Do not use a pillow. We say that over and over again. It's very important. Don't use a pillow. Secondly, don't use a Teflon cover sheet. Again, all of this is because you're not going to get the proper evenness of pressure, which will end up affecting the print, which it won't properly apply to the garment, at least even for the long term as customers start washing it. Third, don't put that left chest transfer too far to the left, because it'll end up coming down here, it'll end up looking bad, and your customer's just not gonna like it. They're gonna come back and they're gonna actually return it. Number four, don't make a belly print. I showed you what that is. It's someone who just, you see it, it's very, very common for new people to the transfer world to do this. You put the shirt on and you think you're all lined up and got this big space, but really you gotta do that sort of that even measurement. And again, the imaginary lines with the left chest transfer, the imaginary lines with the full front transfer. You use those tricks of the trade and you'll be good every single time. And finally, make sure to apply to an even surface. Don't apply to an uneven surface. You don't want any obstructions getting in that way for that press to come down. It needs a nice, smooth, flat area to do the magic, as I like to say, to do that magic. So those are the 5 things to not do. Again, those are the 5 things to not do. Tasha, those are the 5 things to not do when you're heat printing Transfer Express. So thank you very, very much for your time. My name is Jason, I'm your boy, and behind the camera again is Tasha. We thank you guys, have a great day, happy pressing.